It's Tuesday morning. Your inbox is already open. You didn't mean to open it, but muscle memory got there first. There are 3 unread messages marked urgent, 2 client questions you forgot about, a proposal that should have gone out yesterday. The coffee is hot, but everything else feels behind.
And if you're a business owner, you know the feeling. That moment when the day hasn't even started and you're already playing defense.
But something strange is happening right now. Some operators are opening their laptops to a completely different morning. Their inbox is already sorted. Their client responses are drafted. The research for their first meeting is already waiting. They didn't wake up earlier. They built a system. And the gap between those 2 mornings is about to become the most important gap in business. I'm Kim.
I'm Hal.
And this is Small Business, Big AI, the podcast for operators who believe the future of business isn't about working harder. It's about building smarter systems.
Because the businesses that win over the next decade won't just use AI, they'll structure their companies around it. We call that building a technology-enabled superpower.
And today, we're going to talk about something that most business owners don't even realize yet. So you might already have the most powerful hire you'll ever make. You just haven't given it a job title.
Before we go there, there's a gap happening right now in the business world that almost nobody's talking about.
Okay, you're right. So Goldman Sachs, they just released a report on small businesses and AI. And really how the numbers are wild. 76% of small businesses are already using AI tools. But get this, only 14% have actually integrated it into how their business runs.
Which means most of the businesses bought the tools, but never built the system.
And if you think that that gap doesn't matter, well, Mark Cuban made a prediction this week that should get every operator's attention. So Hal, I've been noticing something really strange lately.
Oh no, here we go. That usually means you're about ready to tell me something operators should be paying attention to.
That's right. So when I talk to business owners right now, there are 2 completely different mornings happening.
2 mornings?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same type of business, same kinds of operators, but the start of their day looks completely different.
Okay, explain that.
So the first version, now this one's going to sound familiar to almost everyone listening. So you open your laptop. First thing you see is the inbox. There are 3 urgent emails, maybe a Slack message from a team member asking for a quick decision, then a client asking for something that you forgot about.
And suddenly that day hasn't even started yet, and you're already reacting.
Bingo. So the first 45 minutes, they disappear with no ROI. You're scanning emails, you're looking up information, trying to remember where that document is.
I know that one. Trying to figure out if I stored it in downloads, the cloud, or a file folder.
Yes, and you're still figuring out what actually matters for the day.
And that isn't even real work yet.
No, that is just orientation. And most operators repeat that orientation loop every single morning.
Checking your iPhone on one hand while your fingers are hovering over your desktop on the other, and you're already behind.
I mean, right. But then there's a second type of morning, Hal, and this one feels different.
Different how?
Well, same operator. You have the same business, the same workload. But when they open their laptop, the inbox is already sorted. The most important responses are already drafted. and the research for their first meeting is already waiting.
So instead of figuring out the day,
They're stepping into a day that is already organized.
that's a huge difference.
I mean, it is. And, really at first I thought this was about talent. I mean, maybe these were just more organized founders, or maybe they had bigger teams. But then I saw a number that made me realize something else was happening.
All right, what did you see happening?
Well, Goldman Sachs released a report on small businesses in AI, and the first number actually wasn't surprising. And that was 76% of small businesses are already using AI tools.
That basically sounds like everybody.
Exactly, which means the access problem is solved. I mean, the tools are everywhere now, but then the second number shows up.
Go on.
Only 14% have actually integrated AI into how their business runs.
And that right there, that's the gap.
That's the gap. Most businesses bought AI tools, very few built AI systems.
And those two things are not the same.
Not even close, Hal, because when you build a system, something strange starts happening. You stop reacting to the day and you start arriving inside it already prepared. And that's when a prediction that Mark Cuban made this week suddenly started making a lot more sense to me. Join our growing community of small business owners who are using AI to transform their businesses. Subscribe and be part of the conversation.
So we've got a gap. 76% of people using AI tools, 14% actually build it in how the business runs. That's a huge difference.
Right. And then something happened this week that made that gap feel really urgent. Mark Cuban made a prediction about AI agents.
So what did he say?
He said the companies that figure out AI agents first will start giving their employees back an hour every single day.
An hour a day?
Yeah. And if you're an operator listening right now, I mean, do the math on that. 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week, that's 250 hours a year.
That's more than 6 work weeks of decision-making time. That's what that hour adds up to.
Exactly. But here's the strange part. If this opportunity is so obvious, then why haven't most businesses done it yet?
That's a good question.
Well, because when most people hear the phrase AI agents, they imagine something very different.
Developers.
Right, developers, APIs, GitHub repositories, and engineering teams.
Which immediately makes most small business owners think,
That's not for me.
right.
But here's the reality, Hal. Most operators aren't missing the technology.
They're missing the architecture.
Exactly. They're thinking about AI like a tool when the companies pulling ahead are thinking about it like a team member.
Which is where the chief of staff idea starts to make sense.
Bingo. Because when you strip away the technology language, what Cuban is actually describing isn't complicated at all. He's describing a role.
A chief of staff, someone who wakes up before you do, reads the information first, sorts the priorities, prepares the brief, and by the time you sit down, the day is already organized.
Not the tools, design. So most businesses bought AI tools. Very few built AI systems. So let me give you an example of what this actually looks like. Now, I'll call her Maya. Maya runs a 6-person marketing agency down in Austin, Texas. It's about 1.1 million in revenue. Smart operator, curious about AI. Now, she has ChatGPT, she has Notion, she has Zapier. So, on paper, she's doing everything right.
But let me guess, the day still feels chaotic.
Exactly. Every morning, she opens her laptop, and the first 45 minutes of the day just disappears.
I know that process well.
Right. Inbox triage, Slack messages, client questions, looking for a document that she knows she saw yesterday, trying to figure out which project actually needs attention first.
That's not real work.
No, that's orientation on repeat.
Like the movie Groundhog's Day.
And most operators repeat that orientation loop every single day.
Before the real work even begins.
Exactly. Now, here's where the shift happens. Now, she's at a small business roundtable one evening. There are 7 founders sitting around a table, and everyone is sharing what's working, what's not. And the guy across from her, he says something casually that makes her stop.
So, what did he say?
He says that his Monday mornings are quiet.
Quiet?
No inbox chaos, no orientation loop. When he opens his laptop, his weekly brief is already waiting.
Meeting somebody prepared it?
Exactly. Except there's no assistant, no operations manager, no human chief of staff, just a system that he built over a weekend.
Now that's interesting. So, what did the system actually do?
Well, how 3 things. First, it acted as an inbox coordinator. So every morning it scans incoming emails, it groups them by client, it drafts responses to the most common requests. And when he opens his laptop, the answers are already written.
So, instead of 45 minutes,
He spends about 12 just editing and sending. Now, second, it acts like a research analyst. So every Sunday night, the system pulls updates about his clients' industries, news, competitor announcements, maybe market changes. So when Monday morning arrives, he opens a 1 page briefing.
so instead of spending the first hour figuring out what has changed,
He walks into the week already oriented. Now, third, it acts as a proposal writer. Voice notes, bullet points, half formed ideas. The system turns those into a structured draft. Now, not perfect, but no blank pages either.
and the blank page is where most projects lose momentum.
Exactly. So Maya asks him the obvious question: how long did it take it to build all of that?
And I'm guessing the answer surprised her.
It did, Hal. He says about 4 hours.
Okay, about 4 hours. That's not bad.
How? That's 4 hours once.
Ah,
Exactly. 4 hours to design the system. And now the system runs every morning like clockwork.
that's a huge shift.
It really is. Because he didn't hire a chief of staff, he designed one. And here's the part that surprised Maya the most: none of it required a developer, none of it required a new subscription, not a single new tool.
So the difference wasn't technology.
No, the difference was design.
Quick note before we get into the framework.
If the way we're talking about AI today is clicking for you, the design before deployment idea, the impact framework is where that goes next. It's the protocol that turns AI tools into a system that actually runs.
We'll link it in the show notes. Now, the four functions.
So Maya goes home from that round table and she does something that most operators don't do. She doesn't go searching for another tool. She looks at the tools she already has, ChatGPT, Notion, Zapier, and instead of asking what they can do, she asks a different question. What role should this play in my business?
That's a completely different question. That's the design shift.
Exactly. So she stops thinking about AI as a tool and she starts thinking about it like an org chart. Inbox coordinator, research analyst, proposal writer, each role, each responsibility, each output defined
And once you do that, the whole thing changes.
completely because tools respond, systems run. And once she designed the system started running every morning. And that's when something clicked for me. This isn't about prompts. It isn't about tools. It's about how intelligence gets deployed inside a business.
Meaning what exactly?
Well, think about it this way. Every company already has a way that decisions get made, information gets collected, and problems get solved.
Right. That's just how business runs.
Exactly. That's the operating system of the company. And what AI is really doing right now is forcing businesses to redesign that operating system.
So the question isn't which AI tool should I use?
No, the question is how should intelligence actually function inside this company?
That's a much bigger question.
It is because once you start thinking about AI that way, something interesting happens. You start noticing a pattern. The companies that are actually succeeding with AI aren't just experimenting with tools. They're following a sequence, a leadership loop, a way of designing intelligence into how the company actually runs.
And that's the framework you've been building.
Exactly. And I call it impact. Impact is the loop that smart businesses follow when they stop experimenting with AI and start running it. It stands for identity, mode, parameters, activate, check, transform,
That's the difference between using AI,
and operating with it.
which explains that Goldman Sachs number.
Exactly. 76% of small businesses are already using AI tools, but only 14% have integrated it into their core operations.
Most businesses bought AI tools
But very few of them built AI systems,
because tools respond.
and systems run. So that's what we're doing over the next few episodes. We're breaking down the impact loop, one layer at a time, how smart operators actually design AI into their business.
Not theory, not prompts, systems.
Because the shift that Mark Cuban just predicted, where AI agents start giving operators back an hour every day, that only happens when the system exists.
Otherwise, the tools just give more work.
Exactly. So next week, we start with the first layer of the loop, identity. All right, here's what I want you to do. And let's keep this simple. No new tools, no new software, just a 2-minute exercise. So tomorrow morning, before you open your inbox, I want you to take a piece of paper. Let's go old school. And I want you to write down the first 5 things you normally do when you start your day. Not the big strategic work, the small stuff, like checking emails, looking up information, and drafting quick responses, or finding documents and preparing for a meeting.
Basically, the orientation work.
Right. The work that gets you ready to work. Now, here's where this gets interesting. I want you to look at that list for a second because those tasks are actually job descriptions.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, let's say the first thing on your list is checking email. That's a role, inbox coordinator.
Okay, that makes sense.
And maybe the second thing you do every morning is looking up information before a meeting.
That's another role.
Right, research analyst.
Right.
Well, maybe you spend time gathering documents or notes for a client call.
Documentation assistant.
Exactly. And maybe you draft quick responses or proposal ideas.
Proposal writer.
So suddenly, that simple list of morning tasks.
Is actually an organization chart.
Exactly. So you're not replacing yourself. You're assigning roles: inbox coordinator, research analyst, documentation assistant, proposal drafting.
And once those roles exist,
The system can start running because tools respond,
systems run.
and the businesses that figure that out first are going to feel the difference in their mornings. So let's zoom out for a second. Right now, millions of small businesses are experimenting with AI. They're opening accounts, trying prompts, testing tools, and that's exciting. But something else is happening at the same time.
A much smaller group of operators is doing something different. They're not experimenting, they're designing systems. The gap between those two groups is about to become enormous.
Because earlier this week, Mark Cuban made a prediction. He said the companies that figure out AI agents first will start giving their employees back an hour every single day.
An hour a day, which sounds like a productivity hack.
Until you realize what it actually means. An hour a day isn't a tool improvement, it's a system advantage.
Because tools respond.
And systems run. And that's the shift that most small businesses haven't seen yet. You don't need more AI tools.
You need an AI org chart,
Roles, responsibilities, define outputs.
which is where most businesses get stuck.
Exactly. Because building that system isn't about prompts, it's about leadership. It's about how intelligence is designed inside your company.
It's how you build a technology-enabled superpower.
And once you start looking at AI that way, then you realize something. There's actually a pattern behind the companies that get this right. A sequence, a loop, a way operators move from experimenting with AI to running their businesses with it.
And that's the framework you've been building.
Yep, I call it impact. Impact: identity, mode, parameters, activate, check, transform. 6 steps, 1 leadership loop.
And over the next few episodes, we're breaking down that loop.
1 layer at a time.
Because once you see it, you start noticing something strange.
The businesses that win with AI aren't the ones with the most tools. They're the ones who built the best systems.
Tools respond.
Systems run. So next week, we start with the first step of the loop: identify. Because before you build AI agents, before you design workflows, before you automate anything, you have to answer one question.
What job should intelligence actually have inside your business?
And most operators have never thought about it that way. So until next time, Keep embracing change. Keep innovating.
Keep building your technology-enabled superpower.
This has been Small Business Big AI. Thanks for listening. And next week, we start the Impact Series.